Hello and good morning, students. So for today, we are going to learn new chapter, which is chapter 11.4. For the biggest chapter is chapter 11, force and motion. So for today, we are going through the subtopic of this chapter, which is 11.4, mass and inertia. Before we start our lesson, I would like to introduce myself, Teacher Haikal. Next one is Teacher Lau.
Hi, I'm Teacher Lau. Nice to meet you.
Following by Teacher Alex.
Yes, I'm Teacher Alex. Welcome to our class.
And lastly, Teacher Yu Chijian.
Hello, I'm Teacher Yu Jian, and I hope you can enjoy our lesson.
First of all, I would like to say welcome. Good job for attending today's class session. Are you ready for this learning session?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, we are ready.
Louder, please. Are you ready for today's class session?
Yes, teacher.
Before we move further, I would like to explain a little bit about the learning standard that we gain. At the end of the lesson, students should be able to explain mass. Next one, explain with examples the meaning of inertia. Following by carry out an experiment to study the relationship between mass and inertia. And lastly, students should be able to communicate the effects of inertia in daily life. In my part, I would like to engage and explore. Are you ready for this?
Ready?
Teacher.
Yes.
So here, I got a short video for you. Are you ready to watch the video?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I will play the video right now.
Two bodies of masses 100 kilograms and 350 kilograms are moving with same velocity. When the same force is applied on the two bodies to stop the motion, it can be seen that the lighter body comes to rest within a short time, whereas heavier body takes a little more time to stop the motion.
All right. So based on this short video, did anyone capture the title of the topic that we are going to learn today?
Is it mass, teacher?
Yeah, kind of. It's related to mass. Actually, almost to the point. Anyone have a try?
How about force of an object, teacher?
You're almost right. Anyone get into specific more idea?
Inertia.
Very good. Excellent. We are going to learn about inertia today. Based on the video, what can you observe? What gives object more inertia than the others?
Is mass affecting the inertia, teacher?
Good job. It's the mass which affecting the inertia of an object. Mass gives object inertia. Mass that quantity that describes how much stuff present in an object at the same quantity that describe how much inertia an object will have.
Teacher, does inertia will have greater resistance in the state?
Anyone could help Alex?
Teacher, can I help?
You can have a try.
In my opinion, inertia
Alright.
depends solely upon mass and upon no other quantity. Objects with a greater mass will have a greater inertia, that is, they will have a greater resistance to change in their state of motion.
Yes, you are super right. Nice try, Yu Chijian. Before we start into deeper content, I would like to favor you a fill in the blank game. Are you ready for this game?
Yes.
Yes.
We go to the game. Can you see the screen?
Yes, teacher, we can see the screen.
Question number 1. What is a measure of the amount of inertia? Anyone would have a try?
Weight. Is it weight?
You are near to correct, Lau Jiaming. Nice try. Anyone would like to help Lau Jiaming?
Is mass?
Good try, Alex. Okay, we try to enter it. Mass. Good job, Alex. You're correct. Okay, next we move to question number 2. Mass is an inherent property of an, anyone would like to answer
Object.
this question?
Yes, I
All right, what is the answer? Again?
object. So
Good one. Okay, we try to put object inside the blank. Good job, Yu Chi-jan. All right, we move to the last question for this game. The tendency to resist changes in the state of motion is described as,
Inertia.
anyone? How about you?
No, it's inertia.
Good one. Excellent. Exactly. It's inertia. Well done, Alex. Okay, now we move to the slides back. What is mass? What gives one object more inertia than another object? The answer is mass. Mass gives an object inertia. Mass, that quantity that describes how much stuff is present in an object, is the same quantity that describes how much inertia an object will have. Alex, could you read for me those 3 points at the right side?
Sure. Okay, the first one, mass is a property of an object that quantifies how much matter that object contains. 2, in SI units, mass is measured in kilograms. Number 3, it is a measure of the resistance of an object to changes in its velocity.
Good one. Are you clear about mass for now?
Yes.
Alex, you,
clear.
how are you?
Yes, teacher.
Are you clear? As there are no objection right here, I would like to proceed my slide right here. Okay. That's your understanding. What is the relationship of mass and inertia? How far do you understand about the relationship of mass and inertia? How about Lao Jiang?
I think object that have larger mass will have larger inertia.
Good one. Clear explanation from you, Lao Jiaming.
Thank you, teacher.
All right. Okay, for the next one, we got one more point for this. Anyone would have a try?
Sure, can I try?
All right, sure can. What
Okay.
is the other one?
I think it's when the mass increase, the inertia will also do the same.
Yes, it's true. When the mass of an object increasing, the inertia of the object will also be increasing. You're correct, Alex. Well done. We move to the next slide. Here, I brought you the situation of inertia. I bring you with some example of the application of inertia in our daily lives. So this one is about the tail of two bricks. When you give a stationary object a push, you can feel its inertia. Objects with a greater inertia will demonstrate a greater tendency to resist a change in their at-rest state.
teacher, so you are
Yes?
trying to say that if more the mass of the body, the more difficult it is to move the object from rest or to stop the motion of a moving body.
Yeah, correct. But this one, I would like to be more specific about the inertia of how two same shape of the object may affect. I mean, the mass of the object is different, but the shape is still the same. This is the situation right here, the tail of two bricks. You can see the video right here. When you give a stationary object to push, you can feel its inertia, its tendency to resist a change in their at-rest state. For instance, if you look the brick on the left here, giving it a small push, while in the right side, you can see it looks hard to push the brick, right? Can you see it?
Yes, okay.
Yes.
This is because it has considerably more inertia or resistance to change, and as such, it doesn't change it at rest state as easily. And when you give this push to these bricks, you can feel that inertia. Do you agree with my statement?
I do agree with your statement,
Yeah.
teacher.
Agree. So, teacher, is it correct if I say that inertia is the resistance of any physical object to change its velocity, no matter the speed or the direction? Is it correct?
Yes, it's correct. Another add up for your point is an aspect of this property is the tendency of objects to keep moving in a straight line at a constant speed when no forces act upon them. Are you clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we move to the second situation. I give you a situation where the moose is chasing the kids. If you're ever in the woods being chased by a moose, you can use its enormous mass to your advantage. See, a moose has a lot of mass, right? Therefore, a lot of inertia tendency to resist a change in its state of motion. So all of you have to do this to make many sudden turns. And that more massive moose with this greater inertia will have a tendency to go straight while you evade the moose. Now, that's science for a better living. Based on the dialog box, if more massive objects have greater inertia, then they can more easily evade it by making turns and forcing them to change direction. How would you like to evade an attacking moose? Are you trying to run alone with scariness?
I have a suggestion. Maybe we should run in zigzag shape to lengthen the time taken for moose to chase after us.
Good one, you.
Sorry, teacher, I'm not so clear about this. Why do we need to run zigzagging ourselves when we can just run straight forward?
Seems like you're still confusing. This is because of its enormous mass. It takes the moose a lot of energy to change its course while moving at speed. Like all large animals like elephants, giraffe, polar bear, they all have the same concept. They have a larger inertia. You won't outrun a moose, but you can make it push it harder and therefore up the odds of it abandoning the chase. But if you decide you're worth it, you're going to have a very bad day for sure.
Understood, teacher.
How about others? Are you clear about this concept?
Clear.
Yeah.
So that's all from me. I would like to assist Teacher Lau after this slide. Teacher Lau, you're welcome.
Thank you, Teacher Daniel. Hi, students. How are you? Do you still remember what Teacher Daniel taught you in the previous lesson?
Hi, teacher. Yes, we
No.
still remember. It's about mass and inertia.
Correct. And now we will still work on the same subtopic. We will continue with 11.4, mass and inertia. So previously, you have learned how to define mass, and you are introduced to the concept of inertia. So now we will want to learn about more details in inertia, including the definitions and also some explanation for the effect of inertia in some real life situation. Before we talk about this inertia, let us start from investigating the law of inertia. So, do you know what is the law of inertia? It is discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. So we also call this law as Newton's first law of motion. So can anyone read the law for us? Shijian?
An object will remain in its original state, that is, being at rest of moving in a straight line with constant speed, unless an external force acts on it.
Very good. So let's run a simulation to understand more. Talking back to the Newton's first law of motion, look at this carton here, okay? On this skateboard, is it moving?
No,
No, they are stationary.
Yeah. Why? Because there is no external force acting on the skateboard. So what if I push the skateboard? What will happen?
I think it will move.
Yeah, it will move. It will change its speed. So if you continuously apply the force, the speed will increase. So what happens if I stop pushing? It continues to move, but does the speed change?
no.
No, right? Well done. So if I want to change its speed, what should I do? I should exert an external force. Am I correct?
Correct?
Yes, correct.
So if I push it, continue to push it to the right, it will speed. if I want to slow it down, I push it to the left, right? So it starts to slow down. So you can see this is a 50 kilogram. If I put 100 kilogram, then obviously it takes a larger force, a longer time for the speed to increase. Why? It's because of inertia. The object with larger mass will have greater inertia. Okay, I think the simulation just up to here. Let's go back to our slide. Okay, so now we move on to activity 1. Okay?
All right.
Okay. Now I need you to explain the following situations. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So in this picture, picture 1, what do you see? Many cars parking in the parking area, right? Are the cars moving?
No, they are
No.
stationary.
No, they're stationary. Yes. So if double park behind your car and then you want to come out, how can you make it to move? What do you suggest?
We need to start the engine and then apply the force.
Maybe we can call the owner
Yeah.
to drive the car away.
The police may drag the car to the side.
Yeah, true. So you can imagine if we want to move a car, we must give it a force, right? Without a force, then it suddenly starts to move. It's scary though. If you have cars that can move by its own without any force, right? So let us move to the second picture. You see a phone at the edge of the table. So now, can you predict what will happen to the phone in the next second?
It will stay on the table.
Okay, it will stay on the table. Any other opinion?
It may drop from the table, drop to the ground.
Why?
Maybe the cat push it, it may drop downward.
Yeah. The two answers given by you are acceptable because we don't know if this cat is going to push this phone or not. So if it doesn't push the phone, then it will stay on the edge of the table. But if this cat exerts a force, then this phone will drop. Does this obey the Newton's first law of motion?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, good. Now the last one. This is a baseball field, and then there are audience here, and then you can see the nets. Here standing, there are many poles here, and there are nets. So what is the function of the net?
When the ball is flying too high, the catcher cannot reach the ball. Then the net can stop the ball from flying outside the field.
Exactly. The baseballs, they obviously cannot stop by themselves suddenly in the air, right? They don't go to the boundary and then they suddenly stop. It will be scary, right? It will continue to fly into the audience zone. So if you don't want the balls to fly into the audience zone, you want to avoid accidents, then you need something to block the flying baseball. Now you understand the Newton's first law of motion. Then we continue with the definition of inertia. So how does the law of inertia defines inertia? Let's see. Inertia is defined as the natural tendency of an object to resist any change in its original state, whether at rest or in motion, right? So, and you know that if there is no external force, the object will maintain its state of motion. So inertia is the thing that keeps them to behave in such manner. Now, you look at this hockey puck down here. Okay, you see two diagrams. In the first one, it shows the state of motion where the puck is at rest. Okay, so initially the body is at rest. To make it move, how can we make it move? Can anybody suggest?
Perhaps we can apply the standardization. Teacher?
Yeah, so you want this hockey puck to move, then you hit it with a stick. This is how you play a hockey, right? Basically. So if you hit it, then the hockey puck will move in a certain direction with a constant speed. Everybody's clear? Then we move on to the next slide. Let's watch a video of some interesting examples of activities showing inertia. So the first experiment you can do is to stack some woods and then you hit it one by one and then they will come out and then the things up there will drop instead of going to the left together. You can also do it with some coins, right? So these are showing how inertia is working. Now we study another activity that you can replicate at your home. You see the coin here, it dropped into the water when the cardboard is pulled very quickly. Why?
Chair, I want to try.
Please.
It's because of inertia. Is it
Yes.
true?
Yes. Anything else?
Because initial step, the original step of coin, because originally the coin stayed at rest. So when we pull the cardboard, and it was still stayed at rest, and then it will drop into the water.
Yes. So my question to you is, why does the coin fall into the glass? Because as we have stated earlier, if we do not exert any external force, the coin will remain at its position. It already at rest, right? So why does it drop? It drop means there is a change in state of motion, right? Anybody have any clue? Shouldn't it stay at the same position? I mean,
I think because of gravity, teacher.
exactly, right? Because of gravitational force, then the coin can fall into the water. Otherwise, it will just float in the air. It's not possible in the natural world, right? So you can see here, even if we do not apply any force on the coin, there are still some natural forces that are acting on an object. For example, like the hockey puck in previously, if in our real life, when you hit this hockey puck, we assume it will move forever in constant speed, but in reality, it will at a certain distance. Why? Because there are friction. So if you can find an ideal frictionless surface to play hockey, you can really see the puck going far away at constant speed. But if you play it on grass field or on ice, then it will eventually stop. Can anybody tell me why the passenger leans forwards when the train stops suddenly, even though nobody is pushing this passenger? Anybody wants to try?
Teacher, I would like to try.
Yeah, please.
Initially, the passengers move together with the train in a constant speed. When the
Yes.
train stops, the object inside the train still tend to maintain their forward motions. Hence, the body of passenger leans toward for the observer in the train.
Yes. So it's because of inertia. The train stops, but the body of the passenger still moving forward. So it looks like the person leans forward, but actually it is the train that suddenly stopped that gives less time for the body to react to the sudden deceleration. So everything you can see in this train is going in front. So it seems like there's somebody pushing these things, pushing you to the front, but actually no, nobody is pushing you. And this is very obvious when you look from the outside of the train. Class, do you think mass is equal to inertia? What is the relationship between mass and inertia?
The highest the mass, the highest the inertia.
Yeah, correct. So you clearly understand that mass and inertia is not the same thing, okay? Mass doesn't represent inertia. Inertia is just a natural tendency and it is not counted as a physical quantity. You cannot express in the unit of kilogram, right? Not logical. It is just a natural property and you don't have to measure inertia. You just have to measure the mass, okay? So I think you have already acquired all the knowledge that I want to teach you in this lesson. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this session. And now you may proceed to the next session given by teacher Yu.
Thank you, teacher Lau. Now I would like to elaborate on the content of the mass and inertia by carrying out an experiment to study the relationship between mass and inertia. In this elaboration for mass, I will use experimental inquiry for my activity. So here, class, please observe the picture below carefully. You may screenshot the picture, and I give you 5 seconds to screenshot the picture because later we will use again the picture. Class already screenshot?
Wait.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. I got already?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Now we will move into the tell me session. So for the first step, please describe what you observe. Haika, may you describe what you observe based on the picture just now I just shared?
Yes, teacher. Based on the picture, I observed that it is more difficult for that boy to push a full trolley compared to an empty one.
Thanks for answering, Haika. Can you explain your observations by using specific theory?
Sure, teacher. It is due to the effect of inertia.
Well done. Let us move into the next stage. Student Jiaming, can you generate
Yes,
a
teacher.
hypothesis based on Haika observation and his explanation?
I try that.
Okay.
I think the larger the mass of an object, the larger the inertia of the object.
Good try. Correct. So now, can someone guess what is going on in the next slide?
We already got hypothesis. I think we can start to plan an experiment.
Bingo. You are right. We will sell an experiment to test the hypothesis. Before we start to do the experiment, I will give a briefing for this experiment. Make sure you all pay attention to my briefing. The experiment is about the mass and inertia. The aim is to study the relationship between mass and inertia. And the hypothesis will be the larger mass of an object, the larger the inertia of the object. And the apparatus, we have 4. And material, we have 1. So first apparatus will be slotted. The second apparatus will be stopwatch or timer. Third will be ruler. And the final one will be electronic scale. Meanwhile, the material will be the practicing. So last night, I have told you all to prepare for this 4 apparatus and 1 material to WhatsApp group. I hope you all have already prepared for them so that we can run this experiment smoothly. Okay, next, I will describe the procedure of the experiment in this slide. The first step you need to be careful is to set up the apparatus as shown in the figure above. So the figure will be like this. Second, you have to tightly stick the ruler onto the leg of the table using a slotted. Third, stick a bit of partition with a mass of 30 grams onto the end of the ruler. And then you slightly pull the end of the ruler with the partition and release it so that it can oscillate horizontally. After that, you take the time for 10 complete oscillation using a stopwatch timer and record it in the table. So what you have to do next after you take the time for 10 complete oscillation, you have to determine the period for 1 complete oscillation. The formula to calculate the period is actually very simple. You just use the time divided by the 10 complete oscillation and you will get the period. The final step is to repeat step 3 to step 6 using plasticity with a mass of 60 grams. So are you guys clear with the procedure of the experiment?
Clear, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, now you can set out the experiment. I would like to offer you all a chance to present the result of the experiment Alex, can you tell me what is the time for tank oscillation and the period for both 30 grain and 60 grain of practicing?
Sure, teacher. For 30 gram persistent, the time for tank oscillation is 4.2 seconds, and the period is still for 0.2442 seconds. While for 60 gram persistent, the time for tank oscillation is 6.3 seconds, and the period is still for 0.63 seconds.
From the data provided by us, we can generally state that for 60 grain practicing, both time for tank oscillation and period are longer than 30 grain practicing data. So thank you, Alex. Conclusion. So class, is the hypothesis accepted? What is the conclusion of this experiment? Alex, can you tell the class?
Okay, teacher, the hypothesis is accepted, and my conclusion is that the object with a larger mass will have a larger inertia. The reason behind this is because it's difficult for object to move, especially with larger mass.
All right. Thank you, Alex, for answering the conclusion. So here is the sample for the conclusion. Now I will have some Viva questions for you all to answer. The first question: what are the three drivers in this experiment? Any volunteer?
Teacher, I would like to try.
Okay.
For the manipulated variables is the mass of plasticine, and responding variable is period of oscillation. Lastly, we have the constant variable, which is the length of the oscillating ruler.
So you answer this question correctly, Alice. So now we go to question 2. How to improve the accuracy of the experiment result? Any volunteer? Or I call the name. Jamin, can you answer this question?
We can take several readings by repeating the experiment, and then we take the average value so we can avoid mistakes, errors, things like that.
Yes.
That's my answer.
Okay, all right. So the simple answer is given like that. Measure and record a reading from the stopwatch timer twice to get average of the time for tank oscillation. To get average readings of the time for tank oscillation. The reason why we need to do that is to avoid perilous error. Because sometimes when we take the reading from the stopwatch, our eyes is not perpendicular to the scale of measurement, so it will occur some error. So now, question 3. Please state the influence of the experiment. Haika, can you answer this question?
Yes, teacher. The inertia of an object depends on its mass.
All right, let's check the answer is correct or not. So the answer given is the inertia of an object depends on its mass. So you are right. Okay.
All right. Thank you, teacher.
Thanks for paying attention to my lesson, and I hope you can enjoy to do the experiments to test the hypothesis of the mass and inertia. The larger the mass of an object, the larger the inertia. So I will pass my turn to teacher Alice. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher. So class, why we want to learn all this? Why we want to learn the inertia? It's because we want to know what is the effects of inertia in our daily life. First, we have an example showing the positive effects of inertia. As you can see here, this is what we usually do to our umbrella when it's wet. We spin our umbrella vigorously in either directions and then stop it suddenly. Now, can someone tell me what is the purpose of doing this action? Can you try, Jiaming?
I usually do this to dry my umbrella.
Yes, you're right, Jiaming. Before I go into further explanations, I want all of you try to recall back what we have learned about the inertia just now. Remember, because of the inertia, a resting object will remain at rest. This is also happening in this case. Plus, can you try to imagine what will happen to the water droplets on the umbrella when we do the spinning? Yes, it will fly off the umbrella. The reason is that the water droplet will continue to move even when the umbrella has stopped spinning due to the inertia. So if you can't imagine, I will give you another example. As you can see here, what it's doing by this animal. The animal, such as cat and dog, will shed their body vigorously when they want to dry their furs. Similarly, the droplets of water on the fur tend to continue in motion when the fur are reversed off in direction during sucking. As a result, the water droplets are separated from the fur and fall off. The key point here is the water droplets tend to continue to move due to the inertia. Okay, student, do you understand?
Yes.
Yes, I understand.
All right, proceed on. We have the negative effect of inertia in our daily life. From this animation, when the car stops abruptly, the inertia will kick the giraffe in the forward motion and throw him forward. Due to the inertia, the car driver will suffer a severe injury. Therefore, Daniel, if you are the designer of this car, how can you reduce the effect of inertia?
In my opinion, I will equip the car with safety belts,
Any more?
airbags,
Okay. Yes, student. To reduce the effects of inertia, we must equip the car with safety seatbelt, airbags, and the last one, head race. The head race is also important. Huh? Okay. So, student, I have given two examples for the effects of inertia. So now I want you guys to discuss one of these examples in this slide and share to the class. Okay, I will give you 1 minute to do so. Remember, try to relate it with the theory of inertia. Class, 1 minute has over. Who will be the representative?
Yes, teacher. I will present our group discussion.
Right, thank you, Jijian. Please share your group choice and its relation with inertia.
Our choice is the match between two sumo wrestlers. The wrestlers are heavy and therefore they have larger inertia. Based on the definition of inertia, the wrestler has the highest tendency to resist any change in its rest position.
Yes, you're right. It's because the larger the mass, the larger the inertia. The second point is that when the wrestler has the larger mass, it also has the greater resistance to the opponent to topple him. Okay, congratulations everyone. So now you have figured out the inertia and its application in daily life. Great. Okay. All right. After all we have learned about the inertia, I think it's time for us to play some games. Students, in this game, I want you guys to work together in answering the question at the shortest time. So this is the game we are going to do. Actually, this game is very easy. The only thing you need to do is to help this climber, to reach to the top of this mountain. Okay, 3, 2, 1. We have the question 1. Inertia is the tendency of an object to resist a change in its. Can someone tell me the answer?
Me, I will tell you answer. Motion.
Well done. You have got 1 point. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Nice. Question 2. All objects having inertia, whether they are moving or not. Is it true or false?
True. It's true.
Okay, let's see your answer is correct. Yes, your answer is correct. Now let's proceed on to the next question. If this one is wrong, you need to start over again. Okay, Daniel, I want you to answer this question. The larger the mass, the...
Larger the inertia.
Yes, you're right. Continue. Finally, we have reached to the fourth questions. Okay. Okay, number 4. The first question, to change the motion of an object, inertia must be overcome by this one is fill in the brain questions.
Force.
Oh, so all of you agree the answer is false? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's take the answer. Correct, the answer is correct. Lastly, we reached the top of this mountain already. Question 5. This one is more to application question. What is the concept used by the student when doing show? This is a lot of concept, a lot of law here. Which of these law will be?
First law of inertia.
First
First
law.
law.
Newton
What is
first law.
the other name for the Newton first law? Can someone tell?
Because it's related to inertia.
Yeah, it's also called the law of inertia. Okay. Congratulations, everyone. Okay, you have reached, become the king of the mountain. Okay. Before we end our class today, let us summarize what we have learned today. First, we learned about the inertia. Does anyone still remember the definitions of inertia? Jamie, can you tell?
The inertia is the natural tendency of an object to resist any change in its state of motion.
So, is inertia a physical quantity?
No, it is not a physical quantity.
Correct. Next, through the experiment just now, we all know that the larger the mass, the... CJ, can you tell?
The larger the inertia. The larger the inertia.
The larger the mass, the larger the inertia of the object. Lastly, we also see a few examples on the effects of inertia in our daily life. Daniel, can you give us an example, please?
Maybe about the chili sauce. We force the chili sauce in a bottle by turning the bottle upside down and giving it a quick shake, so the sauce will go down.
Wow, that's a good example. Everyone, please give a clap to Daniel. Okay. Hey, student, wait, don't leave first. I haven't give you guys homework to do. Please scan the QR code and download the question in the Google Drive. Please answer this question. Okay. Okay, I think that's for today. Don't forget to do homework. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your active involvement.